Hi everyone, today we are going to be reading Act 2, Scenes 1 and 2 of Romeo and Juliet. So let's get started. So Act 2, Scene 1 takes place right after Romeo and his friends leave the Capulet party. So it's still nighttime, and Romeo actually ditched his friends and he's walking by the Capulet house, kind of behind the house by their orchard, and he's walking alone. So he says, "How can I leave when my heart is here? I must turn around and find my center." So at this point, Romeo says that his heart is still here at the Capulet house. So he means Juliet. So he climbs the wall and leaps down behind it into Juliet's backyard or her orchard. Benvolio and Mercutio are walking the streets looking for Romeo. So Benvolio shouts for Romeo. "Romeo, my cousin Romeo." Mercutio, "If he is wise, he has gone home to bed." Benvolio, "No, I think he ran this way and leaped over the orchard wall. Call him, Mercutio." Mercutio, "I'll call him with magic words. O Romeo, madman, passion, lover, appear here in the form of a sigh. Say just one rhyme and I'll be satisfied. Cry out, ah me, or just love or dove. Speak now to the goddess of love. Say just one fair word for her son Cupid." He doesn't hear or stir. He won't move. That ape is dead. I must bring him back to life. I'll use the magic of his Rosaline. By her bright eyes, high forehead, and red lips, by her fine foot, straight leg, and all the rest, appear to us now. So this is an example of dramatic irony right here when Mercutio is calling out to Romeo, saying how much he loves Rosaline and making fun of him for being so in love with Rosaline. But that's dramatic irony because they don't know that Romeo is actually now in love with Juliet. We, the audience, are the only ones that know that, so that's why that is called dramatic irony. So Benvolio says, "If he hears you, you will make him angry." Mercutio, "No, my spell is fair and honest. I'm only using Rosaline's name to rile him." Benvolio, "Forget it. He's hiding in the trees to be alone with the night. His blind love is best in the dark." Mercutio, "If love is blind, how can it hit its target? He's probably sitting under a tree wishing that his love were the fruit. Oh, Romeo, that she were a pear. Good night, Romeo. I'm going to bed. Shall we go?" Benvolio, "Let's go. It's useless to look for someone who does not want to be found." So pause the video there and go ahead and fill in the reading guide for Act 2, Scene 1. All right, so let's get started reading Act 2, Scene 2, which is the famous balcony scene. So Romeo overheard Benvolio and Mercutio making fun of him for being in love. And Romeo says, he laughs at love's scars, but Mercutio has never felt such a wound. So here Romeo says that Mercutio is making fun of him for being in love, but Mercutio has never actually been in love himself, so he does not know what it feels like. So at this point, Romeo is kind of hiding in Juliet's back orchard in her backyard, hiding in the trees. And he sees Juliet appear at her bedroom window. And he says, "But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the jealous moon, who is sick and pale with grief. You are more fair than she, and the moon is jealous. It is my lady, oh, it is my love. She speaks, yet she says nothing. Her eyes speak, but not to me. Two stars in heaven have business elsewhere, and ask her eyes to twinkle in their place. What if her eyes were there, and the stars in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars, as sunlight shames a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would burn so bright that the birds would sing, thinking that it's day, not night. See how she places her cheek in her hand. Oh, that I were a glove on that hand, that I might touch that cheek." So here Romeo is comparing Juliet to a couple of things. He compares her to the sun. He compares her eyes to stars because she's so bright and so lovely. And he says that the moon is jealous of Juliet because she's so bright and beautiful. So Juliet speaks. She says, "Oh my." Romeo, she speaks. "Oh, speak again, bright angel. You are as glorious as a heavenly angel." Juliet starts to talk, not knowing that Romeo is listening. "O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny your father Montague, refuse your name. If you will not, swear and be my love, and I will no longer be a Capulet." So right here she says, "Wherefore art thou Romeo?" It actually means, "Why are you Romeo?" So right here she's wishing that Romeo would refuse his last name. And if he does that, then they can be in love and she will no longer be a Capulet. Why? Because their names are the only thing that are keeping them apart, because she is a Capulet and he is a Montague. So Romeo says to himself, "Shall I hear more or should I speak now?" Juliet says, "It is only your name that is my enemy. You are yourself not just a Montague." What is a Montague? Not a hand, a foot, an arm, a face, or any other part of a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other word would smell as sweet. Oh, Romeo, were he not called Romeo, still have the perfection he owns. Oh, Romeo, drop thy name, then take all of me. So in this part here, Juliet is questioning the importance of a name. Names don't mean anything. They're just something that we call something. So she's saying that even if Romeo were not named Romeo Montague, he would still be the same person. So if that's the case, he should just get rid of his last name and then they would be able to be together. So at this point, Romeo hears all of this and he jumps out of the bushes and kind of scares Juliet. So he says, "I take you at your word. From now on, I'll never be Romeo." Juliet, "Who are you that lurks in the night?" Romeo, "I do not know how to tell you who I am. I hate my name because it is an enemy to you. If my name were written, I would tear it up." Juliet, "My ears have heard less than 100 words from that mouth, yet I know the voice. Aren't you Romeo and a Montague?" Romeo, "Neither, fair lady, if you dislike either one." Juliet, "How did you come here, and why? The orchard walls are hard to climb. If any of my family find you here, you will die." Romeo, "I scaled these walls with love's light wings. Stone walls cannot keep love out. Love dares to do what it can. Your family is of no concern to me." Juliet, "If they see you, they will murder you." Romeo, "There is more danger in your eye than 20 of their swords. Look, sweet, and I am ready for their anger." Juliet, "There is nothing in the world I want more than for them not to see you." Romeo, "I have night's cloak to hide me. But if you don't love me, let them find me here. It would be better to end my life by their hate than to live without your love." Juliet, "Who told you how to find this place?" Romeo, "Love told me. I am not a ship's pilot, but if you were far shore on the farthest sea, I would sail to find you." Juliet, "The mask of night covers my face, or you would see me blush. You have heard me say too much tonight. I wish I could pretend to deny it. Do you love me? I know you will say yes, but do not swear it, for sometimes lovers lie. If you do love, say it faithfully. If you think I am too quickly won over, I'll frown so that you may charm me more. But in truth, I am too fond of you to do so. You may think that I'm odd, but trust me, I'll be more true than those who play hard to get. I should be more coy, perhaps, but you have already heard my true feelings, so please forgive me. My love is not as light as it might seem." So here Juliet is kind of embarrassed because Romeo heard her saying how much that she loves him, and he wasn't supposed to hear that. So she's a little bit embarrassed, but she does say that her love is very true and that she hopes Romeo feels the same way. So Romeo says, "Lady, I swear by the moon that," Juliet says, "Don't swear by the moon, for it changes month by month." Romeo, "What shall I swear by?" Juliet, "Do not swear at all. If you must, swear on yourself and I'll believe you." Romeo, "By my heart's dear love." Juliet, "Do not swear, although it makes me happy. I have no joy about our love tonight. It is too rash, too sudden. It's like lightning which is over, before one can even say, 'Look, lightning.' Good night, my sweet. The bud of our love will bloom when we next meet." Romeo, "Oh, will you leave me so unsatisfied?" Juliet, "What satisfaction can I give you tonight?" Romeo, "Exchange your faithful vow of love for mine." Juliet, "I gave it to you before you asked for it, but I will take it back." Romeo, "Why? For what purpose, my love?" Juliet, "To give it to you again. My love is as deep as the deepest sea. The more I give, the more I have." So the nurse is calling for Juliet. "I hear someone calling. In a minute, good nurse. Wait here, I'll come again." So Juliet goes back into the house to talk to the nurse. Romeo says, "I'm afraid that this is only a dream. It is too sweet to be real." Juliet re-enters. "3 words, dear Romeo, and then good night. If your love is true, and you purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow. I will send someone to you to ask where and what time we will marry. Then I'll follow you throughout the world." The nurse calls for her again. So Juliet says that if Romeo really does love her as much as he says, that they will get married tomorrow. So the nurse calls for Juliet again. Juliet says, "I'm coming." "But if you do not want to, leave me alone to grieve. 1,000 times good night." She leaves again. Romeo, "It is 1,000 times worse now that she is gone." Juliet re-enters again. "Romeo." Romeo says, "My dear." "At what time tomorrow shall I send the messenger to you?" "At the hour of 9. Juliet, "I will not fail. It seems like 20 years until then." "Oh, I forgot why I called you back." Romeo, "Let me stand here until you remember." Juliet, "I will forget with you standing here. I can only think about how I love your company." Romeo, "I'll stay just to have you forget." Juliet, "It is almost morning. I wish you would go, but no farther than the birds hop from here." Romeo, "I wish I were your bird." Juliet, "Sweet, so do I. But I might kill you with too much love. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be tomorrow." So Juliet says goodbye and goes back inside. And Romeo says, "Sleep well and peace in your rest. Now I must go to Friar Lawrence's cell to ask for his help and my happiness to tell." So Juliet says that parting is such sweet sorrow. So here we have something called an oxymoron, because she's saying that it's both sweet and sad at the same time. So at the end of the balcony scene, Romeo is heading over to Friar Lawrence's cell. So Friar Lawrence is like the priest, and he's going to ask for Friar Lawrence's help so that he might marry Romeo and Juliet tomorrow. So we're going to stop here for today. Make sure you fill in your reading guide for Act 2, Scenes 1 and